Yeah, hi, I'm Denis Newiak. I'm 28 years old. I'm a scholarship holder of the Friedrich-Ebert Foundation. So I would like to learn something about how to handle big issues of the future, especially the question of housing in our hometown Potsdam is a really difficult question because there are a lot of people who would like to live in Potsdam, but there's not enough space to live there, especially not enough cheap living room. And yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm here.
I'm city decreed, so I'm member of the city council in Bonn since 3 years. And I'm one of the youngest members in the city council. Okay, I'm now 34 years old, but still one of the youngest. And I always face problems like how can you stand your ground? How can you argue with other members of the city council? And sometimes you have problems you don't want to talk with other members of your parliamentary group. And so I went to the academy today to have a little bit of exchange with other young people who are interested in political participation, who are also interested or already member of some representation, to have an exchange about how we can handle all those topics, how we can improve our skills for political handling. I think in the future we have to face many problems with the demographic change. So the society is getting older and older, but we shouldn't forget the young people. We shouldn't forget the working people. We shouldn't forget the problems we have to face, for instance, with the climate change. All those topics are very important, and I think as a young politician, I'm still connected to the younger people, to the people who start working, who start founding a family. I think it is the most important thing to improve the living conditions in the cities. So in Bonn, for instance, we have the problem with living space, especially the prices for flats are becoming higher and higher. And I want to improve these problems.
I'm working a lot on the question of living in the future in the cities, especially because of my PhD project. For example, I'm working on the question of science fiction movies and cities. I'm asking what do science fiction movies already know about the future, how we will live in 20 or 30 years. And I think there are big issues we will be confronted with in 20 and 30 years. I'm sure that everybody has a chance to do something with small means. You do not have to sit in a parliament, you do not have to be a chef or the leader of a parliament or of a party, but you have to do something in everyday life. You have the chance to do a lot with small means, and I think that's very important. And of course, it's the best way to sit in parliament. There you have other possibilities, of course, but I hope that everybody of the population, of a town, of a city, thinks from the perspective, I have the chance to do something right for my hometown. I think one of the main questions is the question of mobility, especially in our federal state of Brandenburg. We have a state with many rural areas, with large rural areas, with many small villages, and we have a lot of workers who are getting to their work and who have to travel every day 100 to 150 miles. And so I think we do need many connections between these rural areas and our, for example, of our capital of the federal state of Brandenburg. So, for example, more train connections, more bus connections, which are connecting the rural areas with the large cities. And I think one of the main questions is to have an ecological way to get to the cities from the rural areas. So I think that's one of the main topics of our future in the cities.
Today, online shopping is growing more and more, and classical consuming behavior is changing. The city centers are becoming more and more less attractive for small shops, but more and more attractive for large franchise enterprises and so on. And I think we have to also to face these economic problems.